Victor, thank you so much for taking the time. Like I was saying just before, I understand you're working with Captain Morgan, the first ever official spiced rum sponsor of the NFL, on what's being touted the most unnecessary, necessary invention in the history of sports. So, what do you guys have planned coming out here? I'm excited.
It's great. It's called the Super Bowl Punch Bowl, brought to you by Captain Morgan, and it's incredible. It's huge. It fits 4 gallons of fluid. There's a Bluetooth speaker underneath it that the vibration from the speaker actually mixes your beverage, mixes your drink, and it's just fun. There's an LED light around it. It's really geared and modeled around like football and like what a football stadium and lights would really feel like. They've managed to squeeze all of that energy into this bowl. So I'm just happy to be part of it. It's fun. It's unnecessary yet very necessary at the same time. So I'm here for it.
Yeah, it's one of those things I don't think anyone knew that we needed, but now that it's out there, I'm sure everyone is like, I want one. Like I sit here saying, I want one. And the fact that I think it tells the score of the games as well, like with some of the technology behind it as well.
Yeah, it definitely has a score of the game. It's touchdowns happen when the team gets into the red zone, it lights up in red. So there's all these little cool features to keep, not only drinking responsibly out of the bowl, but you're also kind of engulfed in the game with the drink as well.
So it's instead of people standing around the water cooler talking about the game, it's people standing around the punch bowl talking about the game and following the game, right?
The wonderful ladle that comes with it, that's beautiful. You can pour it in your cup. That part is necessary in my opinion.
Oh, of course, yeah, because I don't think anyone's going to pick it up and just drink out of it. Then that's when they've had too much, and they should probably stay away from the punch bowl.
It'd be a little heavy if you tried to pick that up. It'd be a little bit heavy for sure.
Yeah. So it sounds like one heck of a Super Bowl. And speaking of Super Bowls, see what I did there? It's been 10 years since the Giants beat the Patriots again in Super Bowl 46. So talk about that playoff run and just the dramatic Super Bowl and what it means for you even all these years later.
It was incredible, and it was incredible because like the Super Bowl or the playoff run had to start like a few weeks before the actual playoffs. Like we had to win out the rest of the regular season in order just to make it into the postseason. So the fact that we were 2 weeks left, we went out, we go into the playoffs, we start knocking these guys off. Obviously, we were a wild card team at 9-7, but really prepared, and we understood exactly what was asked of us and what we needed to do to win. And I think going through each and every game, Atlanta, Green Bay, San Fran, and then ultimately to the Super Bowl, we knew what we had. We were confident. We were understanding. Everyone knew their roles. No one was trying to be something that they weren't. And then our Super Bowl practices were just so perfect. I think that I always tell people those were the most perfect practices that I've ever been a part of. And I think we knew we were going to win well before the game began because our attention to detail in those practices were just, top notch.
Ahmad didn't practice stopping short of the goal line or stopping on the 2 instead on the goal line before falling in.
Yeah, that's not something we went over and practiced throughout the week, that's for sure. But I think he felt it. It was one of those things that as a football player, you kind of react in the moment when things happen. But definitely the most anticlimactic touchdown to a Super Bowl, to a leading touchdown to a Super Bowl probably ever.
Hey, a win is a win. However you can get it, you can get it, right?
Absolutely.
Sticking with the Giants here, I know it's been some tough and lean years for the Giants, for the fans. They pressed the reset button with Dave Gettleman retiring, relieving Joe Judge of his duties. The new GM was just introduced earlier today. So, how does this franchise kind of right the ship and get back to winning ways and hopefully playoff football?
Well, first things first is getting the GM, which they got, and kind of righting that ship. But the next biggest thing, in my opinion, is the head coach. I think getting a head coach that understands the Giants culture, that comes in with a certain pedigree and a certain level of respect. I think that's going to be the next phase. And I think because when he comes in with that level of pedigree, the kids and the players react to that, and the players understand that, and they come in with a certain level of attention to detail and discipline because they know that this coach is respected and he's been around the league and he's paid his dues. They have to get a head coach that embodies all of those things for the players to resonate with. Then they have to figure out what players are going to be on the field helping this team win. But I think the most important part right now is getting that head coach and getting a guy in there that understands Giants culture, that embodies New York, and that can galvanize and lead a football team.
I was going to say New York and the sports market is just a completely different animal, and just all the pressure that comes with that. So how important is it having a coach, a personality, the confidence of someone who can deal with the harsh, New York fans and New York media?
It's extremely important. I think you have to have someone that's thick-skinned, that understands the media and understands how to use the New York media and how to answer certain things without giving too much away. I mean, everybody doesn't love Bill Belichick at the podium, but he's not giving you anything. Like, he's giving you exactly, what you want to be given, and sticking to the game. He might be monotone the whole time, but he's giving you information about the game. He understands what's being asked. He understands he's never going to give you any clickbait or anything that's going to create a headline in the newspaper. He sticks to his keys, sticks to his guns, and focuses on his game, on his team's play on the football field.
I'm still curious what his New Year's resolutions are, though. I think he was asked that a couple of times, and I was just like, oh, probably not the right time to ask him after a loss. So we'll see. Maybe later he'll bring it up. Looking ahead to this weekend's conference championships, you got Bengals and Chiefs, 49ers and Rams. Just how excited are you to watch these games? I don't know if you have early access to one of those Captain Morgan punch bowls, but to take me through the weekend matchups and just what you're most excited for.
I wish I had some early access to the punch bowl, because these games, I'm going to need it responsibly, of course, because these games are just insane. The way the Bengals are playing right now, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, and just his fleet of receivers and pass catchers that he's been able to play with and do great things with. Kansas City, I mean, they look like Kansas City of old. So when I say old, I mean like last year, like 2 years ago when they won it. So it's just understanding who these guys are and watching these games. I mean, San Fran, I don't even think anyone knew they would make it this far, but Shanahan has that team prepared. They have a great game plan. They play defense. And then the Rams, I mean, they just got talent all over the field. Cooper Kupp is an absolute animal, not to mention OBJ on the other side. Like, you have to account for these guys in a major way or they'll rip you apart. So it's going to be fun games to watch. These games have already been fun these past couple of weeks. So I'm just excited for good football, man, and excited for a Super Bowl game that's going to be pretty fun to watch no matter who's in it.
Yeah, I said about the divisional round, the NFL couldn't have scripted better finishes and just more dramatic, games than they had this past weekend. So hopefully the conference championships live up to that. You mentioned some of the receivers, and there's Tyreek Hill, Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp, Deebo Samuel. Just every team seems to have that one guy. So speaking to a wide receiver, just what makes these guys so good? And maybe for defenses, how do you try to stop them? How do you try to limit them, because there's no stopping these guys?
I think that's the battle, right? That's the task, because it seems like whatever you have to combat that, whatever you have to go up against that as a defense, they understand it and they combat it, and then those guys are going to make plays regardless. So it's all about the adjustments you make, and it's about not letting those guys beat you. I think you have to go into the game and say, we want T. Higgins to beat us if you're Cincinnati. We want, somebody else to beat us. We can't have Deebo beat us. We can't have the marquee guys that we've game planned for come out here and have a great game against us, because that means we didn't do our job as a defense and as a coordinator. So it's just easier said than done, obviously, because the Rams and these respective teams, they know that too. They know that you're going to double Cooper Kupp in the red zone. We know that you're going to do certain things and mix up coverages and roll safeties over to Tyreek Hill. So that's why you see him catching 10-yard dig routes or under routes and taking those to the house, because that's the way to get open when you're coming across in defenses. So it'll be a tough task for all teams trying to go up against these receivers and these pass catchers that are really good, but you can't let the main guys, the marquee guys, beat you. You got to let the other guys kind of earn their check, so to speak. And if they win, if they beat you, they beat you. It is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, it's who's going to step up on those teams if they do double or triple some of these other guys. And offensively, I'm sure you're going to see a lot of the teams doing those things to get someone like Tyreek Hill the ball, whether it's behind the line of scrimmage, 50 yards downfield, or however else. So it'll be an interesting chess match, for both those games. And, knowing our time is coming short here, I got to ask, Cooper Kupp, we've talked about him a little bit here. Does he deserve to be in the MVP consideration for the NFL? I know it's such a quarterback-driven league, but they need guys to throw the ball to. So, talk about his season and everything he's done and how he's really, kind of led the charge for wide receivers again here, knowing that the QBs are the ones who are always getting the headlines.
Receivers need more love, man. We need more love, okay? Without us, what are quarterbacks? What are they? Nothing. Just guys that throw the ball far without someone that can catch it and go in the end zone and celebrate and do those things. That's what we all know and love. So especially when you have guys like Cooper Kupp, that there's a certain dominance that he's played with all year long, leading the league in every statistical wide receiver category, improving it in the playoffs as well thus far, catching balls in a timely manner when Matthew Stafford needs them the most. Like, this is what you ask for. This is what you want out of your guys. And he's playing above the numbers, so to speak. He's playing above what's being asked for him. And he should absolutely get some love in the MVP race. I know it's a quarterback-driven league. I know how important that position is. But when you talk to Cooper Kupp, he probably knows just as much as any quarterback knows out here about coverages, about how to play the game, how to play the position. And I think that helps him when he's running routes because he can see and envision when he's going to get the ball even before he gets it because he understands the coverage.
Yeah, I think there was a video of him after one of the games where he broke down the play and he was talking in so much football jargon that people were sitting there scratching their heads. And it's like, yeah, of course he knows what he's talking about because he's going out on the field and executing it. So, that the football IQ is through the roof for him. And I agree, wide receivers need some love. I'm surprised there's never been a league MVP as a wide receiver in all the years of the league, right? It's all quarterbacks and then a handful of other guys. So it's time for that receiver love, right?
They need us, okay? They're nothing without us. I can't wait to see Eli again and just let him know you were nothing. You were nothing without me. Let's see what he says. He might hang up on me, but we'll see what he says.
Oh man, I love it. I love it. Well, yeah, let me know how that goes.
I will.
But Victor, thank you so much for taking the time. I appreciate it. Good luck with everything you're doing with Captain Morgan here, and enjoy the games this weekend, and obviously the Super Bowl a couple weeks from now as well. So thank you for taking the time.
No problem at all, man. My pleasure.